Hey, welcome to another episode of Electrical Theology, Esoteric Life Coaching. I'm your host, Charles. Today's going to be a quick video, or hopefully it'll be a quick video, but I wanted to follow up with our last video of taking action, taking responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and emotions, and having a problem solution action steps in order to go further in working with the secret grid that we've been giving you. For every choice you make, we gave you 6 steps of life of experience, life event, the interpretation, the meaning, the effect, the cause, the habits, the behaviors, and the outcomes. And with that, we're just adding to that framework. We're giving you some more framework here that then better helps you make decisions, which is deciding what ions to bring down, to amplify, and to charge and make those decisions more attractive. Right? We want to attract the ions through electromagnetism. All right, so let's get on with it. If you're okay with that, guys. All right, so on this video, we're going to see about, again, taking responsibility for those thoughts, actions, and emotions. But here we're going to understand of how to make the best choices with your will, wisdom, and action. Right? Because we need wisdom, we need to make wise choices. Right? We need to have the will and the action, the proper action. Right? We had action on the last video, so we had the problem, solution, action. Now the action is going to carry forward over into this video, as well as the wisdom in order to make those wise decisions and understand will. First, we sort of need to understand. Let me hide my little head here for a second. That the emotional behavior, right? The behavior leads to the outcome. The behavior is created because of the cause that then created the habits because of the effect of the meanings we gave the interpretation of our life experience or life event. So in here, we're addressing the emotional behavior. So basically, a stressed answer. So if you're getting an answer in your life, right, which is an outcome, the outcome is an emotional answer. The emotional answer can be stress, frustration, anger, depression, whatever label you want to put on this, is however your life experiences or the outcome of them are coming to you, that's your answer. So the way you're being answered with the questions you're asking or questing ions in life, and you keep getting back frustration or anger, any of these, this is how we need to take a look at ourselves. We need to take a look within and see how we're asking for these or requesting these ions. The quest we're going to go on is attaining more energy, more ions, more God. And the mission is because we're missing ions. And so we have to give ourselves the mission or permission to open up and to be able to take in more energy or ions in order to now direct them where we want them to so we can have a better life. Right? So if your answers, right, your outcomes are coming in a stressed way, then a stressed answer is because there was a stressed question or request of ions. So you told those ions to come in stressed. Or an excuse answer is because of an excuse question. So the outcome of any of your behaviors is because of like equals like answer. So what's the meaning behind your question? So again, we talked last video about the meaning, right? That was given by, you gave it a meaning because of the interpretation you gave it. It's again how your thoughts acted or reacted or responded to your life event. So what's the meaning behind your question? So when you're questing ions or asking what direction or how you should direct your ions or move forward in life, or what you're motivated about what your purpose or meaning to life is, what definition you gave the question. Does that make sense? How did you define the question? Because remember, the meaning is the definition. You defined the ions, and that gave it meaning. So again, however your outcome, the outcome to anything in life was an answer to a question. So it gives you insight of how that question was asked, or those ions were requested. All right? So how do we make wise choices, right? In order to make the best choices have both our heart and mind in them. It's not one or the other. If you're leaving one out, then you're only going to have half insight or seeing life through one eye. So wise choices cannot be made with will or action. And what do I mean by that? Well, will and action don't know about each other really. They're two separate divides within the universe. One yin and one yang. They have a little idea of each other, but each part in the other is a little part. So you have will, wisdom, and action. So will is the heart, and action is the mind. And they are divided. They're separate. They don't really know each other. We'll just put it that way. So wisdom is the unification of heart and mind, or will and action. That makes sense? So will and action cannot, if you try to go on a quest or make a direction or a decision or move forward in life, you won't have the willpower, because the wisdom is the power between the will and the action. So if you try to take action without the will because you don't have the wisdom, then the action is going to not be the action you wanted or the results you wanted. Does that make sense? So if you have the will, but you can't get it to move, right? You can do all the willpower you want, but without the proper action, and the action is not going to come unless it's connected to wisdom. Now, how do we get wisdom? That's the next question. So here's another framework along with the last video I gave you. Let me put my little head back up in here somewhere. So here's a chart. Take it, understand it. Right, it's a crossroad. These are micro crossroads that lead us to the macro crossroads, or the cross. So the cross is just, again, an atom, a higher frequency. If we can spin this atom and connect will, wisdom, and action, then we have proper direction. Now we have the motivation, the will to go the distance, right? So how do we end up making choices in our life? Well, because of the life experiences or life events we talked about in last video. So, now we don't know what we don't know. So what that's going to happen is lead us to an experience or an event that we'll just say didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, right? But now we are faced with, okay, we don't want that to happen again, right? Or how did we make that happen? How can we make it happen again? But mainly for this video, let's just look at it that it didn't work out, and what can we do to make it work out next time. So we have to understand that what came out of what we didn't know, out of this life experience or event, it leads us to discipline. Now the discipline could be that you were part of an institution and you put all your faith, money, trust into this institution, only to have them negate or tell you that what you're doing is not in alignment with their rules or regulations. This can be any institution, from religion to political to science to health or whatever. And if you buck the system, then you are adverse, right? Your verse is going to be opposite of theirs. It's going to be adverse or adversarial. So this is going to lead us that we're going to then have an event because of this situation. And now this is going to lead us to understand discipline. We have to have discipline to make different choices, but we don't know what to do because we don't have all the knowledge. So with the discipline, if you have the discipline to say, okay, I'm going to read how to have a better life, for example, or how to fire my life, one of my books I wrote. How do I fire my life? How do I get to the next stage in life? Well, we don't know what we don't know, so we start being disciplined, saying, okay, I'm going to read 5 books a month about how to better myself. That leads to more knowledge. Now, the more knowledge we gain leads to more discipline, because when you attain more knowledge, it leads to more discipline. Now, this discipline is different than the first discipline. The second discipline is being your own disciple. You're not a disciple or a follower here now. You are a disciple. You are discipline yourself because of the knowledge you're getting, because of the situation that happened with the old discipline or the old institutional system. Now, once we have more discipline, we say, okay, we're going to set a regimen. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to study all the ingredients in food. I want to know all my muscles. I want to know when I work out, what's the best workout for me. I'm going to hang around positive people. I'm going to watch inspirational videos. I'm going to watch esoteric videos such as this one. And then what that's going to do is lead you to understanding. So you start understanding why the things occurred in your life. And we're no longer blaming or faulting these old systems or hating them. We're going to understand these systems, that they were part of the stepping stone to get you to where you needed to go, which was to increase your energy to become a better you. Now, through understanding, that leads to awareness. Now we're becoming more aware and conscious of our choices and our actions. Right? We start becoming responsible for our thoughts, actions, and emotions. We work through our emotions through discipline and through the knowledge. Making sense now? Now, once we have awareness, we're now more aware. We're beginning to see a bigger scope. We go from the synoptic to the panoptic. We start seeing the bigger picture. When we start having the bigger picture, we're aware of the choices we're making because we understand what goes into making that choice now through these frameworks I'm showing you. Once you have this awareness, and that leads to insight, right, or insight. You have your inner sight, your esoteric sight. You see things before they become a thing. And so this is what the intuition is into it, ion, intuition. So we're into the inside or the insight, third eye, whatever you want to call this. We feel things before they actually manifest. So we have a choice to make before it fully manifests. And that can look like, okay, I'm not going to go to that party because I'm feeling something's just not right about that. My logic doesn't understand, but my intuition understands. My awareness understands. It made me aware of it, right? I start understanding as to why that I may not want to go to this party. I may just not feel like it. Or I'm just getting something is not going to happen that I want to happen at this party. Whatever that can be, use your imagination. So once we have this insight, it's because we have the awareness, because we're starting to understand things, because we become more disciplined, because we gain more knowledge, right? Now, in order to have things actualized, we have to use our inner eye or our insight. And that's where once we have that, to have something actualized, we finally have wisdom. Once we start using our insight or our esoteric sight, our vibrational sight, right? Now we connect will and action. See, will and action are separated, right? That's the heart and that's the mind. They're separated. But when wisdom comes in, because now we have insight, awareness, understanding, discipline, and knowledge, now wisdom comes down and connects our will and action. Now the action I take is through wisdom, and I have the will to see it through it. Now I have willpower. I have more power because I tapped into a higher frequency. Making sense? So when it comes to making our choices using the secret grid I've been showing you in the past videos, now we understand that the choices we're going to make, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the discipline? Right? Are you willing to take responsibility for your thoughts, actions, emotion? If it is, you understand your choices. You're aware of the outcomes. Right? We may not know always how it shows up, but we're at least aware that however it shows up is on us, and we take responsibility for that. Right? That leads to more insight. That more insight is just seeing things from that to this, to Shambhala, to hierarchy, to God, to the seven consciousness, to you, from the supernatural to the natural. All right? So hopefully this has helped you some, guys. Definitely like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit that like notification, and our next video is going to be how to drive, thrive, and survive life without a job, and understand the differences between a paycheck and cash flow. Right? I appreciate you hanging out and watching these videos as I make them, guys. I love each and every one of you, and please like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and tell your friends, and let's get these likes up, and let's get to 1,000 subs. All right, guys? Appreciate it. Take care.